Okay, to catch you guys up on what we're doing, so basically this is the base of the table. It's kind of a skeleton frame that will wrap a flexible plywood called bending board around, and then we're going to add like 160 little round over pieces all around it to kind of give it a cool effect. On the CNC, we've cut all the parts for this, and so Robert's coming up with a way to glue it together, and this is kind of what we've got. We're using blocks, and then we'll get our clamps on both sides. So this is looking at the top frame of that skeleton, and this is about half of it. So he got one here, he's got one over there on the bench he's working on, and then once we glue these two ends up, we'll come back and get the rest of the parts, which are right here, and get clamps set up to glue this and basically make the whole frame. We've got two of these to do. These are the parts for the bottom one that I'm working on the CNC now. So once those get done, we'll lay up and get blocks on those and start clamping those. So it's a bit of a process going through and clamping good solid glue joints. We've got dominoes in here to add a little strength because it's ingrain to ingrain. It's not the best glue surface, so those dominoes should help. But once we get it all assembled and get the ribs in and the bending board, it's going to be pretty stout, solid base foundation. Now this is pretty wonky, so just be careful if you're using it because it moves.
Is there a way to throw a screw down into it?
Well, there is one in there right now, but it's not doing much. Okay, so my angle is, I just want to double check the thought. Yeah, because it needs to get smaller as it gets to the top.
Yes, this is the bottom.
That's the bottom. Let's double check that.
Nothing.
Pretty good.
Looks like it works great.
What?
I was Daddy knows.
Oh, dude, that's wild. How'd that happen?
I don't know.
Did you get blood anywhere?
Yeah, on the couch.
Oh,
Nice to get this
All right.
sometimes.
you taking over?
I can do it.
Yeah. All right, it's on you, man. I think you got it. Just camera's rolling right now, so.
Sweet.
All right, let's clean that couch.
flip it, right?
Yeah.
I would think, yeah, by the nature of how it's
Just sitting.
made, it has to be, right?
I don't know how it would be off. Yeah, because when you put the dados in, you're gonna put the. Oh, these are in the right spot here.
Cool. Okay. Oh, that worked out great. Okay.
All right, let's take a quick break from this build to tell you about today's sponsor, Simply Safe. Now, right off the bat, I want to tell you this is a perfect time to get yourself a security system. Simply Safe is offering 50% off. I've never seen them run deals and promotions like this, so it's a great time to order one. Now, let me tell you why I have 3 systems. I got my first system about 4 or 5 years ago for the shop to protect it from water damage. It can flood if we get heavy enough rains, protects it from fire damage. I have multiple HD cameras in the shop, one of which monitors my CNC. So if I'm in the house and the CNC is running, I can pull up the camera on my app and I can watch the CNC and make sure everything is going good. It also protects from theft, 24/7 protection in the shop. I've got entry sensors at the doors, glass break sensors, motion sensors. So if anyone breaks into the shop, it is protected. I also have an outdoor HD camera that covers a whole field of view of my shop and the side of my house and my garage. And that is also meant for theft protection. I have a second system in my home. Same deal, it provides me 24/7 from theft, water damage, freeze damage. My favorite part of that system is the doorbell camera. It notifies me on my app anytime it detects motion or if someone's at my house and rings the doorbell. If someone's at my house, I'm gonna know, and it's a great thing. We also recently added one of their really awesome outdoor HD cameras to the pool because we had a very scary incident with our youngest son at the pool. So now we can monitor the pool 24/7. Any motion around that sends a notification to me or my wife. We're both set up on the app, and we know if there's anyone around the pool. The third system is set up in our brand new Argosy that I spent 3 years restoring that you saw on this channel. The main reason I put a system in there is to protect from water and any fire CO2 issues in the camper. I ran all the plumbing in that camper. We all know that it could be questionable. We might have some leaks. So I put water sensors throughout the RV. And if any one of those detects any water, it's going to send a notification to me. I may not necessarily be there on the spot to take care of it, but at least I know, and hopefully I will be, and I can go shut the water off immediately. Simply Safe is less than $1 a day, which is less than half of what the traditional home security systems cost. Plus, there's no long-term contracts. You don't have to sign up for any kind of long-term deal with Simply Safe. Also, another great thing is setup is super easy. You don't need to set up any appointments, professionals, or anything like that. It's delivered straight to your door, and you can set it up yourself. There is no safe like Simply Safe. Now is the perfect time for my viewers to order their system. You can save up to 50% off on a Simply Safe security system by using the link in my description. That is www.simplysafe.com/Andy Rawls. Simply Safe has been a long-term supporter of this channel, and I would love to keep it that way. So you guys not only will support this channel and the content I give you, but you also get an amazing product and a good Simply Safe system. The link is in the description, so I encourage you to go check that out. Let's get back to this build. Okay, so we've made quite a bit of progress on this. I've got Judd up here with me this morning, but I wanted to give you a little update on how this is going. We've got the binding board all wrapped around the frame, and what we're going to do now is add plywood inserts on the top and bottom. So we'll CNC those out to fit into this little rabbit we've cut right here. And those will jump in. You want to get out? But it's a boat, right? It's like a submarine. Can you climb out?
No.
Okay, let me help you. You ready? Whoosh. There you go, buddy. So we'll get the CNC fired up. We'll cut these out, get them in, and they'll add a little bit of structure to it. It's turned off, bud. It's looking really good so far. The process has gone really well. I'm happy with how it's going, and it's a really cool shape. I like the way it looks. So I'm excited to get all the pecan strips on it now. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge figuring that out. It's going to take us a while to dial that in and figure out how those are all going to lay on there. There's a pencil by my computer. You just mark the edge there. Here? Yeah. Alright, so we're just about ready to resaw. I want to give a quick overview of where we're at. So this is kind of what our book match is. This piece is going to be shorter on this side than this one. So this will make up our middle parts where the table gets narrower. This will make up the ends where it gets longer. We've got 22 pieces we need total, so we've got to get 11 out of each one. And so the best way to figure out how many you're going to get is just with a pair of dividers. You can step off basically your thickness of the material you're cutting plus your kerf. So in this case, we're cutting a 16th inch veneer plus about a 16th kerf. It's probably going to be a little bit bigger. And that's what I've got my divider set at. It's actually a 32nd over, no, a 64th over an 1/8. And so when you step this off, we get 12 veneers out of here. No, we get 13, sorry. We've done this multiple times, but we'll get 13 veneers. And I'm going to just assume we're going to lose one in the process. So we should yield 12 out of each board to give us 24. That should give us 2 extra. Another thing we can do with these dividers, these are great tools, is we can check, now that we know this is our material plus our kerf, and we've got our fence set, we can come down here and check it on this tooth, and it's just barely rubbing on that tooth, and then come up to the top of our fence and do the same and make sure that our fence is perfectly parallel to the blade. That way we're not getting any variation in the veneer thickness. And with calipers, it makes it, our dividers, I'm sorry, makes it really easy to do. feel. Woo. Okay, so after we got those veneers all cut out on the bandsaw, actually worked out really well. We got all 24 veneers out of that, which it's going to turn out to be a good thing because the count on the veneers was wrong on how I laid it out. We're going to find out about that more here in the video. But real quick, I want to walk us through the substrate, the plywood section of this. So we had a 3/4, 1/2 inch, and 3/4 laid up in the bag to make basically what you call the substrate. This is what the veneer is going to go on. So we crushed that in our new veneer table, worked out great. After we did that, we were able to bring it out and take it to the CNC and cut out the ellipse shape. One of the great advantages of having that CNC is being able to cut out large profiles like that. Now, since the table is around 108 inches long, we had to splice the plywood together. We couldn't get that obviously out of one sheet. So we laid it up in a way that we could come back and have about an 8 to 10 inch half lap between those two pieces. And on top of that, we laid in some dominoes to kind of strengthen that and epoxied it, and then went back into the bag so that as we put that together, we could crush it back down in the bag, keep it flat. Once that's set, we had one solid piece that was the perfect shape of our table, ready to start laying veneer up. So that's what we're going to transition into now, is setting up and laying out all these veneers. All right, so I'm working on dividing out the pies for this, for the veneer. I want to make sure that I get this sized properly, because basically what we'll do is we'll lay it up in two sections. We'll do this side of the table and that side of the table. And as I build them around, I've laid out using that template from the center all the way around. It's hard to see these, but there's 6 here, and it ends right here at this line. So the line to the left here is where that pie ends, and then this heavier set line here is the middle line of the table. So I want this to actually come over on this side of the middle line, so we're a little proud, we're a little big. And then after we lay up and tape up the actual veneers, we can straight line them and get a nice clean joint between the two sides. And the reason you want it big here is if you're big, if you're the way it is now and you're not past your middle line, to joint those you're going to have to cut off the center, and that'll get your sunburst pattern off, or that point off I should say, because you'll cut into that and it'll kind of mess up how that should all come together and terminate right at a point. So we're going to work on getting this a little bit bigger so it comes past the center line. So instead of trying to remake the jig, I think we'll just run a piece of tape, blue tape, on one edge and then relay it out and see where it lands. Okay, I just learned a really important lesson in radial veneering, and I wish I had done better in math because I would have been able to not make this mistake. But so when you're figuring out your sequence, you have to figure it in a way that you get the matches correct. So if you take 22 and divide that by 2, that's 11. That's not an even number, so you're not going to have even book matches all the way around, and hence this is my problem. As we get around, I've got 20 leaves in right now, and I've got to add 2 more, and you can tell if I come in and add one, it looks great there, but it won't match up to this one. That's going to kill the pattern. That's going to mess up the whole table. So the saving grace behind this is that we managed to get 24 veneers when we resawed. One of the veneers is in pretty bad shape, but we're just going to have to use it. I don't think we have a choice. We got to make it work. So I'll have to just shrink them all down basically. So I've got enough that, so if you divide 24 by 2, you get 12, and that's an even number, so you can get an even amount of sets of book matches up on your table. So I just basically went into CAD, figured out how I needed to make this pie smaller to fit 12 on each side instead of 11. And I just used my existing template and cut it down, and I just tested it out and walked it around. It worked really well. It came past my middle point to this far line where this arrow is, so that's a little bit far, so I could actually shave a little bit off this, and it would work a little bit better. So we're good now. Instead of having 11 on this side, we'll have 12, so that's an even book match, and it should work great. Okay, so I think we've got a game plan here. I've drawn up everything in Fusion. This is just kind of the spacing of all the slats. There's 170 here, and the pattern follows the bottom circumference, the bottom ellipse, so that gap stays the same. Now as they travel around, the gap at the top is going to get smaller and smaller, and it's actually kind of in this section right here, it's going to start to hit, so we're going to have to do a little shaving on those, but I didn't want the gap to get too big that it didn't look good, so kind of finding the balance. This is not going to be an exact science, so really every one of these changes just a little bit as it moves along the pattern and it gets closer to this tighter radius. So in Fusion you can use these construction planes, and so I've basically broken it down into quadrants, and I've taken measurements within these quadrants to figure out what my spacing is and just kind of found the average, and we'll just kind of work over with that average until we get to kind of to this spot, and then from here it's going to be some guessing and some work, but I think breaking it down into these sections is going to help kind of work that pattern over and deal with the changing dimensions here. Now in order to get the spacing, I've made spacers for each space. So the bottom one is the 3.88. That will stay consistent the whole way around the pattern, and then we have one for each little quadrant we've broken into, and so as I go around and nail these in, I can just set these spacers on here and space out my part, nail it, and then just keep moving along.
This right here. I got it. Make sure it's the same.
Yeah, let's put the difference. Cool. A little bit bigger gap there, but it looks good. It's real cool. I mean, there's a little, if you really look hard, you can notice the bigger gap at the bottom there, but we might be able to.
We can.
I'll build a bigger.
Yeah, that
This one, no.
the one next to your finger.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah, that whole thing needs to be adjusted in the center.
Going that way.
Yeah. And the one next to it needs to come out. Yeah. That makes a pretty good difference.
Alright, so like that.
Yeah. It's tough too because of the curve.
Yeah.
Like everything changes really quickly.
When you move around it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, this is super awkward. What are we doing?
Waddle, dude.
I hit all of my shins and ankles. Could have just got on either side and carried it.
I think we can go this way.
Oh gosh, nope, it's good. It was a gentle. Oh my gosh, it wasn't the normal hip check.
Alright, it needs to go pretty much straight towards you. Fall right in. Oh, that's cool. So satisfying.
That is pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah, dude,
One
that's
last
pretty
coat to finish.
It is pretty sweet looking.
Great table, man.
What do you think, Jim?
Gene, you like that table?
What do you think about that table?
Oh man.
It was an affirmative. It was a yes.
That was a yes. Very cool. I'm excited to put this one in that room.
Are we done?
I gotta shoot one more coat of finish on it.
Ooh.
I'm just sitting here admiring the hard work that went into this table. I gotta say, I'm incredibly proud of this shop, proud of Robert, proud of just how it all went. That was a tough build, and we managed to get through this one with limited issues. We built it in a little over 200 shop hours, which is right on kind of where I estimated this to cost us, so that's always a plus. But above and beyond that, it just came out looking awesome. It came out looking great, and it feels good whenever you're putting out work that you can be proud of and that is something different that you haven't done before, and you execute it and make it work. And that veneer top, it's a showstopper. It's definitely going to create conversation, I think. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed bringing it to you guys. It's a lot of work. The work that goes into making these videos is brought to you by Simply Safe. They help support this channel and make it happen. So the link is in the description, 50% off. That's an incredible deal. So if you're interested in home security, go get that. As always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate your support. Leave me a comment, any questions, anything you want to say. I'll try to get back to you, and we'll see you next time.